Hello, this is Kat from Mahata, and today I'm going to be going over my process for medieval limp binding. Out in front of me here I have my paper cutter. I went over my paper cutter in the last video when I talked about supplies. I'm just going to move this guide over. So first thing I want to do is start by cutting my paper. This is a 20-pound paper, just a basic sketchbook paper. And I'm going to cut it to size for a 3x4 notebook, which we're making today. So I'm going to take this first cut. Now, depending on what size notebook that you're going to make, you're going to want to try to figure out what's going to be the best size page for me to go with. I like this particular paper cutter because it has nice guidelines for cutting. So now I have my page cut. I'm going to put these extra scraps over to the side and put my paper cutter away. I'm going to bring over kind of my general workspace. I tend to work on my rotary mat to do most things just because, well, I don't know, it's a convenient spot. It's kind of wear resistant and gives me a nice contrast for making a video like this. So I'm going to take my page that I just cut and fold it over. Make sure I align these sides here. Just do a fold by hand. And then I'm going to take either my bone folder or this wooden folding tool, which I like to use, which is actually a ceramic tool. And just make sure I get a nice crisp line. So I'm going to go through, and for each of my pages I'm going to do a nice fold like that. When I have all my pages cut out, and for this notebook I'm going to be doing 20 different sheets, which will end up being about 80 pages. I'm going to take 5 of those and put them together into what's called my signature. They're all the same size, they're all folded, nice and crisp. And I'm going to take my signature, and I have a spine marking guide over here, which I've made from the back of the sketchbook. Just going to put that near the crease of my signature. You might be able to see little black markings on here. These are where the holes are going to be on the spine. So I'm going to mark these off just with a mechanical pencil. 1, 2, 3, and 4. In this particular book, I'm going to have 4 signatures, so I'll be doing this 4 times. I'm not going to do it 4 times for the video, just going to do it once. And I have it on this piece of scrap wood here, so when I push this bodkin or metal awl through to make the holes in the middle of the signature, it doesn't damage the table, and also lets me know I'm getting all the way through the paper. It doesn't really take that much force to get through the paper, but you want to make sure you have a nice even hole. And just bring it up and check to make sure that those holes are lined up on the edge there. So now we're done with the paper portion. And you want to take whatever leather that you're using for the cover and bring that out. We'll put this piece aside. This is already cut, but I'll kind of give you an idea of how I get to this point with the leather. I usually use a metal ruler. Lets me make a nice straight line, and my rotary tool, which actually has a safety on the back, which I need to undo. So I cut along using that metal ruler as a guide until I get a nice straight edge for the size of leather that I want. So this is my leather. Now what I want to do is take that signature that we just folded up and place it against one edge of the leather. I'm going to take my mechanical pencil and just kind of score a line right next to the signature. Maybe take a couple times just so you can kind of visibly see a faint little line in the leather. Then I'm going to take that spine template that I was using before to mark up the signatures and do a score on the side of that. And this will give me an idea of where I want to put my spine reinforcement. I'm going to then cut a little piece of leather out to the size, to this size here, and put it onto the leather. Now how I've attached this is just with some rubber cement. Put rubber cement on the leather in between those two markings that we just made, and put rubber cement on the back of the spine reinforcement, and then just press them together when they both dried. And then I usually just take the bone folder or this wooden tool and kind of draw it along the edge so I make sure there's no air bubbles in between those two pieces of leather. I'm going to reach for my other template that I have here for the spine. This is my spine marking template. I've made it up just using a piece of graph paper, sized to the same size as the spine reinforcement, and made 4 holes in 4 different sections for each of my signatures.